Talking shit.
Welcome back to Talking Shit. Prince Huda back in the hosting chair. Sarah Pararia, our co-host, unavailable today. She is sick. We're sending our well wishes to her. She'll be back next week. We got the dynamic duo today. Prince Huda alongside Johnny Junta here as well. Johnny, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. We're back in action. Hopefully Sarah gets better. It seems like everyone's getting sick as of late. Like there's a lot of sickness. One's going through my office now at work. But everyone's starting to get sick. It's weird. I don't know what's happening. I really don't.
Yeah, I feel like all of us have probably done a show sick that we shouldn't have. So I like that, moving forwards, if we are sick, take it off. Don't come in. Like you said, if it's spreading around the office, starting to spread, make sure to keep it contained. So it's interesting. It hasn't hit our office yet. I know now that we've said it probably will, but let's keep washing our hands here.
Yeah, it's not great. So a lot of people have been leaving my work early. So I feel fine though, thank God. I feel perfectly fine.
Yeah, you've had a couple battles I recall from the show. Stuff too. Yeah, so
yeah, the worst immune system on the planet, people were saying I had. But I'm good now. I feel great. I'm buzzing. And it's summer. So why? I mean, I would hate to be sick right now, to be honest with you. I'd be miserable.
Yeah, no, the weather perfect. Maybe that's why people are getting sick, the weather changing. But seems like we're approaching summer. So hopefully good weather, good health, good vibes all around. Do want to address something, not so much good vibes. Canada, as a sports broadcasting country, we lost the legend this week. Darren Dutchyshen, Dutchy, passed away this morning at the time of recording. Absolute legend, sports anchor for TSN for many, many years. One of the most iconic broadcasters, well-loved on the air, and you see all the tweets coming in from his colleagues and coworkers. He was such a good guy off the air. So just wanted to extend well wishes to Dutchy's family and thoughts and prayers with them. And rest in peace to a Canadian sports legend.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people's childhood, man. Before school or I guess after school, watching the highlights, and Dutchy's right there for you. So rest in peace to the king. And hopefully all his family's doing well. I know I saw Hedger posted a pretty cool story about him. So hopefully they're all doing well and battling through it. But yeah, it was a tough one today.
Yeah, you see all the clips being posted of him, over the years, and he just approached it a bit differently. Like he just had that extra oomph and charisma when he was doing highlights, where it didn't feel like a generic reading of the script. He would just throw in those words or that emphasis on certain things, and it just made it more fun to watch. And you said, growing up, Sports Center, late at night. If you miss it late at night, you wake up early morning, he's still on TV. And just some of the best highlights, the Sports Center top 10s, the little tropes before, a real legend in Dutchy, and definitely will be missed, and one of the greatest to ever do it from a Canadian standpoint.
Easily one of the greatest to ever do it. Some may call him the GOAT. Just electric stuff, and hopefully, it's a tough news to wake up to this morning if you are a Canadian sports fan. Very, very tough.
Very, very tough. But we'll try and keep on the lighter side of things today. Some big news this week for the city of Toronto. Funny enough, last week we had the discussion about which Toronto team will win a championship first, and it seems like there's another name in that race, or name to be confirmed. Toronto was announced that next year in 2025, they will be receiving a WNBA franchise. So it seems like the popularity of the WNBA with the Caitlin Clark uprising, and it seems like a lot more popularity of women's sports. We've seen the Professional Women's Hockey League in Toronto flourish, and now we're getting a WNBA team. So I think that brings us to 8 total Toronto franchises. Definitely an interesting move, bringing a WNBA team north of the border. I wanted to get your take on that, Johnny. What do you think? Does Toronto need another professional sports team?
Yeah, I mean, WNBA Raw. I mean, you see the popularity of it with Caitlin Clark, and I know when Caitlin Clark, whenever she steps foot in this city, those tickets are going to be the hottest thing on the press. I mean, they're going to be expensive as hell. It's awesome to have a sports team and now a sports franchise where girls growing up around here playing basketball can have like female athletes they can look up to that play in the WNBA that they could just drive 30-40 minutes to go watch. So it's awesome news. And I saw MLSE bought them, I believe it's an MLSE thing or a Tannenbaum thing, but it's awesome news, and expanding a league like that, it's going to be profitable here. We saw it with the PWHL, so I'm just buckled up and ready to ready to see what happens with it. I'm just it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I wonder. It's kind of coinciding perfectly with the Raptors starting the descent into being a pretty shitty basketball team. Hopefully,
Yeah.
they come in and become a really good basketball team. One correction: I did say 2025 is actually 2026, so we have a bit more years of
Yeah.
deliberation. But yeah, to your point, Caitlin Clark is probably going to be the face of that league by the end of this season, probably next season. So the first game that she plays in Toronto is going to be electric, and whatever that team ends up being, whether it's really successful or really bad out the gate, there's going to be Toronto fans. Toronto's a great sports city. And if you put a team that's competing in the playoffs or, in contention for a championship out there, people will flock to it. So very exciting for the city. What is interesting, though, is the team is currently under deliberations of what the name is going to be. Right now at Sports Interaction, we have betting odds on what the Toronto WNBA team will be named. Just going to read you some of the options here. We have the Huskies, the Monarchs, the Frost, Thunderbirds, Titans, Towers, Queens, Tempest, and Majesty. So a couple of royal sounding names, some really interesting stuff here. Is there anything that jumps out to you as
I kind
a
of rock
really
with the Majesty.
Majesty? Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
cool one.
I kind of rock with the Majesty.
Toronto Majesty. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
different. It feels like more royal, kind of leaning into our heritage a little bit. Majesty. I saw Huskies right now is the betting favorite. I remember the Raptors had an affiliation with Huskies back in the day, so I'd imagine they want to start fresh. So yeah, Majesty would be cool. Toronto Titans would be cool. I guess Tennessee Titans, they probably don't want to copy another name, but yeah, Toronto Majesty's cool. Thunderbirds would be a good one. Frost, I guess, depends on the season. They do play in the summer, so Frost wouldn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, I like Majesty there. Plus 800. That's not a bad show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Toronto Majesty.
I think the Titans are like the name of a minor league hockey team here. I don't know if I'd like fully agree with that one. But yeah, in terms of the Majesty, I'd probably I don't know any teams named the Majesty. I kind of rock with that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like that's a cool, like royal sounding name, makes the team sound prestigious, and it may be prestigious right out the gate. So I think the perfect time to introduce this team was probably right after the Raptors championship win, because I feel like that's when basketball in Toronto and as Canada as a whole was like at the top. So I feel like they kind of missed the boat by a few years, but maybe this is a good thing because of the fact that the Raptors are, going to be shit for the next few years. You got a new team to kind of watch, but yeah, I feel like if you drop this team in 2019, assuming COVID never happened, Raptors win a championship, everyone's playing basketball, everyone's talking about basketball, to get another team, that would have been perfect. But, better late than never. So excited to see the hopefully Toronto Majesty kick ass in the WNBA.
Should be fun. I mean, female sports it's growing like crazy, and it's a massive market in Toronto. So I don't see a world ever where this is going to fail. So I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. Well, let's continue with the basketball a bit. One of the big pillars of discussion on this show. LeBron James Jr., also known as Bronny James, has declared for the NBA draft. One of the most talked about prospects heading into the NBA draft, not because of his talent, but because of his last name, Bronny James. We recall many years ago, LeBron said in an interview his dream was to play with his son, that he would be willing to play for whatever team drafts Bronny James Jr. And that kind of puts his draft stock in an interesting position because a lot of teams may draft Bronny James with the hopes of landing LeBron James. And so I wanted to get your take on this. What do you think about this Bronny James hoopla? Do you think him and LeBron will play together? Do you think any of this will bring any sort of relevancy to whatever market gets him, whether they're a small market or a big market? What do you think about Bronny James in the NBA?
I think I mean, he looked good in the combine they did a couple days ago. I saw some highlight clips. I think he dropped like 13 points or whatever. Put up some pretty good numbers. I also saw him say like he wants to be out of his dad's shadow. Like he doesn't necessarily want to play with his dad. He wants to be his own guy. So good. Looks like he has a good head on his shoulders. I think he's at some point, like with those genetics, there's no way you can't be good at some point, right? So I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be good. I just don't know when he's going to get drafted. And would he be in this spot if his dad wasn't LeBron James? I'm not sure. I don't think so because his numbers in college aren't that great. So I'm looking forward to seeing where he gets drafted, where he goes, and where LeBron goes, because LeBron is now a free agent, I believe. So it's going to be a very weird NBA offseason, especially with seeing where the chips fall for Bronny James Jr.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I find it funny that it's almost the perfect class for him because there isn't really that Wembenyama, Anthony Edwards type prospect that everyone's talking about that people want
Yeah.
to see. A lot of the hype is around a guy who's probably going to get drafted in the second round and where he goes, not even because of his talent level, but because of what the media circus that would bring. We have odds right now on the team to draft Bronny James in the NBA draft. Obviously, the Lakers being the favorite, given that LeBron James has kind of cemented himself as a Laker. I'm assuming he would like to finish his career as a Laker if Bronny James does end up there. But you can't count out what LeBron
Yeah.
had said years ago that he may go follow his son somewhere. The Cavaliers at plus 1,000. That would be pretty cool to see LeBron go back to Cleveland, finish his career with his son. Let me throw out an interesting scenario here. Let's say the Raptors, who have a couple draft picks this year, not a lot from a ticket sales standpoint, any sort of guys beyond Scotty Barnes, maybe Grady Dick that they can market. What if the Toronto Raptors drafted Bronny James and we had LeBronto 2.0 with Bronny James at the head of the Raptors?
That would put asses in seats. I'll tell you that for free. Where when they need it, because they stink.
Yeah.
Uh, and they just lost their pick because it was protected with if it was in the top 6. So this is a this could be that would be electric. I don't know if it'll go well, but drafting Bronny James late in the second round, which is when the Raptors are probably going to pick, would I think be good for marketing and would be good for the city to kind of have something exciting to look forward to for this terrible, terrible Toronto Raptors team that has really like they're kind of tanking again next year for a high like a first overall pick. So the tanks continuing and drafting Bronny James puts the asses in seats because people want to see what the spectacle is going to be like having the son of LeBron James play in Toronto.
No, for sure. Can you imagine how many Bronny jerseys would be sold? How many bobbleheads, hats, T-shirts? Like they would market the hell out of this guy being in Toronto. You see the ads everywhere for the current players they have. If you could put LeBron James Jr. in Toronto, that would be absolutely nuts. And LeBron James has said before that one of his favorite cities in the world, Toronto. He's here every year for Carabana. What if this gets LeBron James to the Raptors? And all of a sudden, we go from this tanking team that nobody wants to watch on TV or in the arena to the hottest ticket in town with LeBron James and Bronny James and Scotty Barnes playing together.
If I am Bronny, if I'm LeBron, this is probably one of the last teams I want to go to, man. They just
Fair.
this ownership, I mean, the Jakob Pertl trade was so bad. I will say IQ rocks, RJ Barrett rocks, but you want to go somewhere you can win a championship. I don't know if that's even possible with what the construction of this Toronto Raptors basketball team and the lack of organizational depth they have, and the idea that essentially they don't really have much to look forward to next season besides maybe some of the young guys playing like Grady Dick. So if I'm LeBron, that's one of the last places I want to go, to be honest with you.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It's more of wishful thinking. I mean, you saw the energy and electricity Kawhi brought when he came to the Raptors, instantly before it was even a thought in people's heads that this team could win a championship. Just having a star player of his caliber in this city just made everything electric. And then trying to get him to re-sign. Remember Kawhi and Dine, all those
Yeah,
restaurants put up like stickers and stuff. So it would be cool. But to your point, it's probably a pipe dream. But I think Bronny James is more in the cards for Toronto than LeBron James is. And hey,
for
if you
sure.
agree, plus 4,000 right now for the Raptors to draft
That'd
Bronny
be fun
James.
for like 50. Just throw like $50 on it. I mean, I
Exactly.
$10 on it. It's like it would be sick. It's just like again, it's more if you care more about ticket sales than you do about how your team is actually going to be. But who knows? You could be a diamond in the rough, and you could be a steal of a second round pick, right? So I'm not disagreeing with you, but that would be he'd have to fall pretty far to go to the Raptors in the second round, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah.
Should be a fun one.
Should be a fun one. We got a bit of time. The NBA draft takes place in June. Playoffs are in full swing right now. One more thing on basketball or on father son athlete duos in general. Who, in your opinion, is the greatest father son athlete duo of all time?
Uh Like it's hard to not go with the Hows, right? I mean, no,
Yeah.
Gordie Howe, right? Gordie Howe played with his son.
I believe, yeah, they played on the same team for a few years.
I'm probably missing a clear cut one here. I don't even like Cecil Fielder and Prince Fielder. Prince Fielder before he got injured was like a freak athlete, like just one of the best hitters on the planet. That's one that comes to mind immediately for me. Ken Griffey Jr. There it is. Ken Griffey
Oh,
Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. There you
yeah,
go.
that's a
Yeah,
good one.
that's the one I'm thinking. Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, I think hockey, there's a ton of father-son duos that played together. But beyond playing together, you think about duos where the dad was an elite player and the son was. Um, I'm thinking about Archie Manning, who's a great quarterback from the 70s and 80s, and then he has two Hall of Fame sons, Peyton
Yeah,
Manning, Eli Manning. You kind of see something brewing in Colorado. Deion Sanders trying to do something similar with his kids. There's a lot across the field in sports, but in terms of playing together, you brought some pretty good options there for sure.
yeah. I think Ken Griffey Sr. and Jr. rock. So probably like Ken Griffey Jr. is one of the smoothest swings. Probably one of my favorite baseball players all time. So it's hard to go against that one. Just based off the history and the fact that Ken Griffey Jr. is a clear-cut Hall of Famer.
That's fair. I'm thinking right now, just locally, you got Ty Domi, Max Domi, similar
Yeah,
players. Never got to play together, but stuff like that. The Kachucks, Keith Kachuk, and then his two sons, Brady and Matthew, tearing up the league right now. So it's cool to see. I feel like if Bronny and LeBron could play together, that would be some historic stuff. And it would go right up there with all these different father-son duos that have played sports together.
for sure, for sure. I would be funny. It would be very Toronto-esque to just draft Bronny so LeBron can come here. But I don't know if LeBron would come here if they drafted Bronny. I don't.
No, probably not. He'd probably retire, maybe get a house here and come watch games. But you're right. I don't see him
Yeah.
ever playing a game for this team. But that's that. We also got some news yesterday. The NFL schedule has been released. We're itching closer and closer to the start of the 2024 NFL season. And the people that say the NFL scripted, I mean, they're writing a pretty damn good script for week one. Opening night, Thursday night football, Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, how could you start a season better than that?
That is going to be scenes. I saw some of the lines already. Like, I can't believe, like, if you're betting that right now, like, you're a crazy person. Like, you are a crazy person if you're betting that right now. I wouldn't be doing it. Just betting something that's a minus 110, 8 months, 6 months before the season starts is crazy. But yeah, the Chiefs game, I believe the Niners are facing the
Jets.
Jets.
Yes.
The Jets. Just some electric games to start the season for week one. I cannot wait.
Yeah, so we'll just run down some of the primetime games for week one. You got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs Thursday night. Friday night, you have the Green Bay Packers and Eagles taking place in Brazil.
Yeah.
You got a Friday night football game this season. Sunday night football, you have the Detroit Lions versus the Rams, another playoff rematch. Stafford returning to Ford Field again. And then Monday night football, on the year anniversary of Aaron Rodgers tearing his Achilles on Monday Night Football in week one, we have Aaron Rodgers in Monday Night Football against the San Francisco
funny,
49ers.
dude. So funny, man. Aaron Rodgers going back to that time slot where he tore his Achilles running out to the field is unreal. It's just I can't believe it. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, like how this Jets team does like with him actually as their quarterback, because they were just pretty much trying to figure out where to go, how to navigate without Aaron Rodgers. But I'm excited to see how he does in this Jets offense, man, because we've only saw him for what, 3 downs?
Like something like that.
Yeah, just terrible.
Yeah, I remember I drafted Garrett Wilson very high in my fantasy football league, and I was like, okay, we got Rodgers, number one receiver. This guy's a dog. And then seeing that snap was like, well, that was a tough blow. So that Jets offense is lethal. And now you bring in Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully they can light it up a little bit. I saw the New York Jets have the most primetime games this season, 6. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Aaron Rodgers in primetime. So hopefully he stays healthy. I know the likelihood of rupturing your Achilles goes up after you rupture one of them, but let's not think about that and hope Aaron Rodgers delivers this season.
Yeah. I hate Aaron Rodgers personally.
Oh,
I don't really care for him, but we'll see what happens, man. It's funny that the Jets do all that to get Aaron Rodgers in the offseason. He plays 3 downs. That will never not be funny to me. And that meme of him with the flag will never not be funny as well. So
yeah.
I
Anytime.
he can't get out of his own way. I think he's one of the most hated athletes on the planet. But it is objectively funny seeing Aaron Rodgers all over the Twitter timeline day in and day out. It is funny.
He's got to be up there. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, it's not for what he does on the field though, because like on the field, he's got one of the greatest arms I've ever seen. He's made some crazy throws. Who could forget that Hail Mary against Detroit a few years ago? And then that one against the Cardinals. Like on the field, everyone. I mean, I don't know how you hate Aaron on the field, but off the field, I totally get it. Like I feel like every week he's doing some podcast about a conspiracy theory and all this weird stuff. He lost a lot of league support. Going back to the pandemic stuff and all that. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers going to be electric this season. Would you believe that the Jets are a plus 225 underdog against the Niners week 1?
I'd believe it, man. The Niners they do that thing where they're just the greatest regular season team ever, and they're like minus 110 to win the Super Bowl or plus 130. So it's the Niners are probably going to wax them, to be honest. It's probably going to be a waxing. I don't know. It's like the Niners are a juggernaut. I don't know what's happening with their wide receivers though. I don't know if Ayuk's coming back. So we're not 100% sure with that, but they'll figure out a way. They're a wagon every single year. It's insane.
For sure. One other nugget on the NFL schedule, and I think this is a good clip too. Apparently, the NFL was looking at Taylor Swift's concert schedule before determining the Chiefs' schedule this year to make sure she could get to as many games as possible.
That would be, I mean, if that's true, that's insane favoritism, but she puts asses in seats, man. She's the queen. I get it. It's they've probably made hundreds of millions of dollars since they started dating, just off of merch and ticket sales and ad revenue, everything. So Major League Baseball is trying to copy that with Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn, but it's obviously nowhere near the magnitude of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. But they're creating the blueprint on how to get more of a female audience that couldn't care less specifically about the sport to start watching and have a dog in the fight. So I respect it if that's true.
Well, I was hesitant, and then I saw this. So Taylor Swift has a concert in Toronto, 3 shows in Toronto: Thursday, November 14th, Friday, November 15th, Saturday, November 16th. She's doing 3 shows in Toronto at the Rogers Centre. Would you believe that on Sunday, November 17th, the Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, just 2 hours south of Toronto?
That doesn't shock me. But like I said, I mean, that's a weekend for Swifties. Swifties can go to watch the game and then drive all the way up to Buffalo or to Toronto and go watch her in concert. I mean, those tickets are like $5,000 or whatever they are, $3,000. But if that is true, that is very, very funny that you have like Roger Goodell looking at Taylor Swift concert schedules before he is trying to make the schedule for the Kansas City Chiefs with his schedule makers. That is the funniest thing of all time.
Yeah, I thought it was bullshit, but then I saw that and I'm like, no way they scheduled this game. That's probably going to be one of the most viewed games of the entire season. Playoff rematch, Bills, Chiefs. Every time these two teams play, ton of viewers.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that Taylor Swift's going to be just up the road in Toronto. Like, you can't tell me they didn't do that on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Some things are a little bit, there's too much of a coincidence, and that is definitely one of them. Maybe that game was definitely moved to that date for it.
100%. You mentioned Livy Dunn and what the MLB is doing with her. Do you think that's the same? What they're trying to do there is make her the like Taylor Swift?
I don't think Taylor Swift will get interviewed mid-game like Livy Dunn was, but like the social media stuff, them posting Livy Dunn doing interviews, her in the box, all of that, they're definitely trying to copy that blueprint because Livy Dunn is very, very popular on TikTok and on social media. She was in Sports Illustrated, I saw last week or this week or whatever it was. So they are definitely trying to copy and mimic what the NFL blueprint is for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce in a very, very smaller scale, albeit. Paul Skeens isn't like a massive, he's like the number one prospect in baseball, number one pitching prospect, but I'm not saying they're trying to copy it or just be anywhere even similar to it. They're just trying to kind of create traction with that crowd.
Interesting. Were they dating like prior to him becoming a big time baseball prospect, or was this a long term thing?
They dated when I believe they dated after he got drafted first overall.
Oh,
yeah, but she's an LSU girl, and he went to LSU.
But they started dating after he got drafted number 1 overall.
Yeah, I believe it was after. I'm not sure if it was like. I'm not sure if it was. It might have been during, because I remember she was at the College World Series, I believe. So it might have been like just a little bit before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like they're. Oh, Sean.
I got. Yeah, she was at the College World Series wearing a Skeens jersey.
Okay.
In June of 2023
right
and August of 2023, they confirmed to be dating.
What was she wearing?
A Skeens jersey, like a t-shirt jersey.
T-shirt jersey. Okay.
You've never heard the term jersey?
No, I don't think I've ever. Would I wear shirts? Is that a girl thing? I don't.
No.
No,
it's like if you don't want to wear the jersey, you wear the jersey.
Oh, like one of the t-shirt with the name on the back. And oh, I see. Okay. I thought there was like a custom thing. Like it was like some Kyle Juszczyk's wife kind of, one of those outfits or something. No. Okay. I'm sorry.
It's like a t-shirt thing. Yeah. So they were the College World Series, I guess, is when they started kind of talking or like seeing each other. And they started dating, I guess, technically in August. But yeah, that's what around the College World Series in like May/June, I believe. So yeah. Okay. That makes more sense than Sean.
Okay. I feel like there is one I saw in the NHL. Trevor Zegras of the Ducks is dating some TikTok girl, Dixie D'Amelio.
Dixie D'Amelio, I saw.
But the NHL's not leaning into it as much as the other leagues, which again just shows like how far behind it feels like they are in some certain things. Like you look at what Taylor Swift NFL, now you look at Livy Dunn MLB. It seems like why wouldn't you lean into this a little bit more? Obviously, he's not, on a major market. The team's getting primetime games, but these are like spoon-fed opportunities to really promote your game to the younger audience, the female audience.
Well, NHL's using like Tate McRae and all that type of stuff.
Right.
You watch the All-Star game, right? So they're doing way more than enough to hit that TikTok crowd. So I don't think I'm not quite sure if they are if they really need Dixie D'Amelio and Trevor Zegras because his team's shit. And he's honestly fallen off a cliff. He's not really playing that well. So I don't think they're going to use that.
Fair.
Plus, Prince is too young to remember Mike Fisher, Carrie Underwood, and
I do.
Dion Phaneuf, Alicia Cuthbert.
I actually sat next to Alicia Cuthbert at a Leafs game, believe it or not.
Oh, funny.
What a callback. I remember this gorgeous blonde woman sitting next to me and my dad. I'm like, oh my God, she's so pretty. And then at the end of the first intermission, she just left. And then these two people come over. They go, do you know who was sitting next to you? I'm like, no, like just some model or something. Like they're like, that was Alicia Cuthbert. I'm like, wait, what? And I had no idea. She was just sitting there incognito. And she was Dion Phaneuf's wife. And we had some pretty shitty seats. So I don't know why they put her up there, but she ended up making her way down. So funny you unlocked that memory for me there with that one. Appreciate that.
Yeah, the girl next door.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't recognize. I'll be honest, I didn't recognize her. And then I was just like, she's really, really hot. And I was like, oh, that's who it was. So that makes sense.
She's definitely a looker for sure.
Oh, yeah. There is another one. I forgot. One time I was at an airport and it was LAX. I was in an airport. I was waiting and PK Subban walked in with this blonde girl. And I only knew it was Subban because he was dressed all funny. He had like the cowboy hat on and he sat down. And I guess because it was like the terminal in LAX, like he wasn't getting recognized or anything. And he sat down on this bench and I was on the other end and I think he kind of noticed I kept looking at him and he gave me one of these like, what's up? And I was like, oh my God, that's PK Subban. So we got a picture and I remember asking the girl he's with, I was like, oh, can you please get a picture of us? Come to find out later, it's U.S. Olympian, famous Lindsey Vonn. And I had no idea.
Yes. She's like one of the most yeah. I remember that. I don't know if they're still together, but I do remember that they were dating at one point.
Yeah, I remember. It's just funny because like that's twice that like athletes whose wives are or girlfriends are probably more famous than they are. And I just completely don't even realize it and just glamour over the athlete. So I
Yeah,
thought that
that's
was
you
pretty
pigeon
funny.
tossed her.
For sure. She probably was humbled. I was just like, "Here, you want my phone? Can you take a picture?" Realizing she's probably the one that gets stopped for pictures more often than he does.
Oh,
So that
for
was a
sure.
misread.
For sure. She is like insanely popular.
Oh yeah, she dated Tiger Woods, I believe, too.
Yeah.
So I mean, that'll up your popularity for sure. One last thing on the NFL, we talked about the schedule. We talked about some of the early lines for Week 1 games. I know it's early. It's middle of May. I'm sure this will change. But Johnny and Sean as well, do you guys have a Super Bowl prediction? Who's winning the AFC? Who's winning the NFC? And who's winning it all this year?
Man, that Ravens team is adding Derrick Henry. I know that's probably a very public bet, because the Ravens will always be good as long as Lamar's their quarterback and Harbaugh's their coach. But I like the Ravens this year, man. I like the Ravens this year. I'm not sure about Sean, but I really like the Ravens.
Plus 900, so that's not too square.
Yeah, I don't mind the Ravens. I'll always go with the Chiefs. I know it's the top of the board, which I would never bet at plus 550. I don't mind them winning the AFC at plus 300, maybe a little bit more. NFC, I'm going to go for a little further down the board. Green Bay Packers plus 2,000. I think they showed a lot last season, and I think they're going to come in with a bit more experience. That wide receiver core is fantastic. Jordan Love apparently is also fantastic, and so at 20 to 1, I'm going to look there because I think the NFC is pretty weak. The NFC is pretty weak. Yeah. The Falcons plus 3,000. There's a few teams down the board in the NFC that I like, but AFC, I'm going top of the board. Chiefs, Ravens, I think are the teams to beat.
For sure. I'm looking at a team that 2 years ago was in the Super Bowl. Last year, battled a ton of injuries, depleted secondary. Philadelphia Eagles plus 1,600. They brought in Saquon Barkley. They drafted a couple corners in the early rounds. I think they're a team that, if they are healthy, we saw 2 years ago, Jalen Hurts put the team on his back. Mr. Tush Push himself took it all the way to the Super Bowl, and we're up in the Super Bowl at halftime. I can see this team making a comeback, and I could see the Eagles winning the NFC at plus 700 and potentially winning the Super Bowl at plus 16.
Do you know that is the most bet team Week 1 already?
Really?
Minus to win the Super Bowl against the Packers.
Oh, I don't think they beat the Packers Week 1 though. That's a great, because they're not home. Like it's in what's it called? Brazil. So
yeah, they're the most bet team right now. Minus 1.5.
I think they're going to start slow. You're not going to have Jason Kelsey. You're going to have a new running back, and you're going to need to establish the rapport between Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, who's getting the ball at the goal line, how many tush pushes you're doing. So I see the Eagles starting slow as a buy low team a few weeks in. So it's surprising to hear you say that they're the most bet team to win Week 1.
Yeah.
Interesting. In Brazil, too. It's funny. They go to every country but Canada. They're doing 3 games in London, 1 game in Brazil, 1 game in Germany, and they won't touch north of the border. Ridiculous.
Yeah. The Eagles are a wagon. I mean, they just last year their defense, which was a strong suit for them the year before, is just was terrible. So I like the direction they're headed in. I mean, they got to win a Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, man. They have to. There's no way. I mean, I can't believe they didn't do it with they didn't do it after they already won one with Jason Kelsey, but like Jalen Hurts is unbelievable. So is Saquon. So this team is going to be very, very scary next year. It's going to be probably the most bet team in the NFL every single week will be the Philadelphia Eagles. And it already started with the first week line minus 1.5. People are already betting it. So
that's crazy. Yeah. If you're betting Week 1 NFL spreads in May, good on you.
Don't even know who's on which team yet, really.
Good on you, but I don't know. Exactly. Like there could be injuries in training camp. There could be guys falling. There could be trades. Brandon Ayuk could end up on the Packers. We don't know, right? It's just pretty crazy to see these lines and go, this is the team I want. Future seems to be the safest way to go. 2 novelty props up at Sports Interaction right now. Some teams with quarterback battles going on right now. We talked about JJ McCarthy a little bit a few weeks ago, talking about the draft. What quarterback do you think will start Week 1 for the Minnesota Vikings? Right now, Darnold and McCarthy are a pick 'em.
I think it's Darnold. I think I think if I'm Justin Jefferson, I want a quarterback that's actually probably played in the NFL. I wouldn't say he was successful in the NFL by any means in Sam Darnold, but Man, that is poor Justin Jefferson, dude. Fuck. Like, I mean, I don't think JJ McCarthy's that good. I'm a Michigan fan. I saw him. He's a lot of running, not really the great thrower. I think it has to be Sam Darnold week 1, and then maybe JJ McCarthy comes in week 4 or 5. But again, I would not bet this either because you truly never know.
That's true. I feel like I got to agree with you there. I think Darnold's the guy who's been in the NFL, not super successful, but has the experience. And I'd imagine the offense probably wants to play with the guy that's already been in the NFL. But they both are learning this new playbook for the first time. So it really could be either guy. But to your point, poor Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, Addison, all these guys who are absolute dogs who had Kirk Cousins, who 2 years ago, this team wins the division. And now they're probably competing with the Bears for the last place spot in this division.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears are going to be sneaky, I think, man. I like Caleb Williams. I like Keenan Allen's going to be, I know he's aging, but I could see the Bears being a sneaky team to watch this year, man. I really can. The defense last year was really good.
It wouldn't surprise me, yeah, because I feel like Fields, he played really well, but it just seemed clear that the team didn't want him to succeed. And now that he's out, they got a conditional pick. If Caleb Williams is truly the guy, then the sky's the limit for this team. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet. I think they got what's his name? DeAndre Swift as well. So yeah, if their offense is rolling
I really
this,
like Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet was that dude was a touchdown merchant last year. He would always score. Easiest bet to bet Cole Kmet to score a touchdown last year.
Yeah, it seems like every year he's a safe bet. It feels like the Bears always seem to throw, at least Justin Fields would always throw to Cole Kmet. In fantasy too, he was always a good pickup. It seems like the sports books also have pretty high odds. Caleb Williams, regular season passing yards, 3,425, which is higher than both Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. So
wow,
definitely pretty high expectations for Caleb Williams out the gate in week 1.
He is the chosen one, man. I'm buying all the hype. I know USC career didn't go as he expected, but I could definitely see Caleb Williams just being easily the rookie of the year next year. I mean, it's not a hot take for the number 1 pick, but he is incredible, man. He's so good. I can't wait for. That's one thing I'm looking forward to. I never thought I'd say I'd be looking forward to watch Chicago Bears play fucking football, but yeah, Caleb Williams rocks.
I agree. Chicago Bears to make the playoffs -125. So it seems like everyone's all in on the Chicago Bears this season. I'm excited as well. They just got a really tough division. Jordan Love and the Packers look lethal. The Lions are scary. Yeah. And the Vikings, I guess, would be their only stiff competition. But if Caleb Williams is truly this generational talent, like everyone says, and he's got a great offense to walk into, he's got a decent defense, and he's got a fan base in Chicago that's probably been waiting for a successful quarterback for many, many years. I think the sky's the limit for that team, and we could be in a situation where we're talking about the Bears as a legitimate contender in a few years.
Yeah, I'm more so looking forward to seeing what the Steelers do, like the trading for Justin Fields. I mean, they gave up nothing, obviously, and then Russell Wilson. I don't know what they're gonna do. I really don't. I don't know who's gonna be starting games for them, week 1. I mean, is there odds on that? We got to get odds on that for Sports Interaction.
I would like to see that too. I believe right now there isn't, but to your point, there's no guarantee Russell Wilson wins the starting job over Justin Fields, because Justin Fields looked like an elite quarterback at a few moments last year.
They're the same guy though. Like Justin Fields is just a younger version of Russell Wilson.
That's fair. I think Russ is, well, I guess I was going to say he's making all that money. He's not making all that money. The Steelers don't really, they need to start him. I feel like it's a short leash on either guy, especially with Tomlin being as crafty as he is. I feel like he could, similar to
hook for any of that.
Yeah, they might, they might roll out a different guy on a regular basis. Who knows? But they got a tough path to the playoffs right now. The Steelers +175 to make the playoffs. Got the Bengals, who are going to be heavy favorite to win the division again. You got the Cleveland Browns, who looked pretty good last year despite the quarterback issues, and then the Baltimore Ravens, who seem like a lock every year to be 1 or 2 seed in the AFC.
Yeah. So, Yeah, this NFL season's. I mean, there's a reason why it's one of the most popular sports in North America because it's just there's so many storylines, so many freak athletes, so much parity in the league. I'm looking. I mean, I can't wait. I mean, obviously, we still got to get through baseball season, but NFL is definitely that's like the fall, the start of the fall where it's MLB playoffs, and then the NFL. It's the best. It's the absolute best.
Oh yeah, best sport in my opinion to bet on, just because there's 16 games every single week. You know,
Yeah.
you lose Thursday, you win it back Sunday. You lose Sunday, you win it back Monday. You go through the whole week. Fantasy football, big fan too. That's a big one in my household as well. Just the NFL, the fall isn't the best time of year weather-wise. It gets dark earlier. It's colder. People are a lot less happy. But when Sunday rolls around and you could just sit on the couch and watch football from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., you know, there's not much better in life.
Yeah, it's the NFL rocks, man. Who are we kidding? It's the best. It gets you through the winter, so
Absolutely.
you can't complain about it.
Absolutely. Well, we'll get into some more NFL futures, some props as we get closer to the season. Obviously, there's plenty of time to go, trades to be made, training camps. We got all that on for you. So make sure you stay locked to Sports Interaction. Subscribe to the channel, weekly episodes of this show. We got clips going up, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. So make sure to follow Sports Interaction on all your favorite social channels. Make sure to follow Johnny Junta and myself, Prince Huda, as well. And we will see you next week. Have a great day.
Talking shit.